The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar on wireless connectivity solutions for hospitality. I have here with me Puneet Bhatta, and he is the Senior Director of Engineering, and he'll be giving the presentation today. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the text box on the right, and we will get to them as we see them as they come in, or we'll have a Q&A session at the end as well. And so without further ado, Puneet, you can take it away.
In today's webinar, after a brief introduction to this field, we'll go over Cambium's portfolio for wireless connectivity solutions with a focus on the Wi-Fi access points. We'll also go over some of the hotspot features in CN Maestro and CN Pilot, which are important for the hospitality market. We'll also go over some of the ecosystem solution partners that Cambium works with. So we have our own access points and our own Wi-Fi solution, but in many cases in hospitality there are other partners who provide their own solutions, which together with our access points can provide a lot of value to a particular market. So we'll go over some of these ecosystem partners that Cambium access points successfully interact with. We'll also go over some of the recent case studies involving our access points, wireless broadband in the hospitality space. We'll have a sneak preview of some of the upcoming features related to hospitality in 2017. And in the end, we'll wind up with some resources for more information. If you're looking for additional information, more case studies, knowledge-based articles, things like updated software and so on. So why is good connectivity important? And this is a very important question for the hospitality space. Recent surveys from hotels.com, from a JD Power study, have shown that free Wi-Fi is now the #1 hotel amenity that people look for. So people have ranked it more important than free breakfast or an upgrade to a room. Another Room ZZZ survey in the UK recently found that 65% of guests were online within 7 minutes of checking in, and 1 in 3 requested the Wi-Fi password as soon as they arrived at a particular hotel or resort. So this is how important Wi-Fi is. People want to get online. With the advent of social media, people have their own pictures that they take, videos that they take that they want to share, they want to check email. Wi-Fi is a fast, relatively cheap mode of access, especially if you're traveling and you may not have international data on your phones. So everyone's looking for good, reliable, fast Wi-Fi access in hotels. Fast Wi-Fi has become so important that now there's even a website called Hotel Wi-Fi Test. This is dedicated to speed tests of Wi-Fi in different hotels. So when people travel to hotels, stay there, they run a quick speed test of how the Wi-Fi performed, upload the results to this website, and this website then collects them and ranks the hotels by Wi-Fi speed. So in terms of the user experience, in terms of the star rating that a user gives back to a hotel after staying there, Wi-Fi has become very important. And the star rating, having a good star rating not only builds in loyalty from that person. When people post online reviews that they had a good experience, the Wi-Fi was good, studies have shown that this encourages other people to book at the same site. Some of the applications for wireless connectivity in the hospitality space. So here we have an example of a resort. Now this is a fairly large example, but there are subsets of this all across the hospitality segment. So for example, if it's a small motel, then a part of this applies. If it's a resort, then all of this applies. But there are wireless applications all across in the hospitality space. Starting from Wi-Fi in guest rooms. This is the case where people bring in their laptops, their mobile phones, their tablets, and they're looking for Wi-Fi access inside the room. To Wi-Fi in meeting areas. So hotels have conference room and conference centers that they rent out for business meetings, and people now expect very strong, reliable Wi-Fi in the very dense environment. So this is very different from the guest rooms in that you have a lot of users all in one small limited area, and the access point needs to have enough performance to be able to provide good service to all of them. Outdoor Wi-Fi at all locations. So if your hotel is a beach resort or if you have poolside areas, people expect Wi-Fi access now all over the location. Now once you have all these little pockets of Wi-Fi, to connect them back into the main resort and onto the place where you have internet connectivity, you have multiple options. You can either use fiber or wired connectivity, but one easy way to get that connectivity link going is to use wireless backhaul solutions. So point-to-point and point-to-multipoint solutions, which can connect different buildings across a resort, or which can connect, say, the pool area or the beach area back to the main resort building where the internet connection is. In addition to just Wi-Fi for users, we are also seeing a lot of wireless use cases for video surveillance, for point of sale devices. So the hotel's own operations also run over Wi-Fi in many of these cases. Going over Cambium's Wi-Fi portfolio, so Cambium has access as well as backhaul solutions for wireless, and all of these are managed with CN Maestro. So CN Maestro is Cambium's network management system, and it can manage the Wi-Fi access points. In this case, we see the CN Pilot E400, which is our 11AC dual band indoor access point, the CN Pilot E500, which is our outdoor access point, again dual band 11AC, and then the PMP 450 and the ePMP solutions for point-to-point connections and point-to-multipoint selections. So all of these connections from access up to backhaul can all be configured, managed, all from a single pane of glass, which is CN Maestro. Going over some of the details of the access points, the CN Pilot E400 is our indoor 11AC dual radio access point. It has a relatively high transmit power of 24 and 25 dBm. This ensures good reliable coverage all across the site. In addition to all the enterprise features related to roaming and security, it also has a strong suite of guest access features. So it has a built-in hotspot portal, and this portal, as we'll see in upcoming slides, can work in standalone mode and can also work through a captive portal solution that we have built into CN Maestro. The E500 access point runs the same software as the E400, so the same enterprise grade features of roaming security, but this is packaged in a hardware solution which is meant for outdoor installs. So it's IP67 rated. It can handle a temperature range from -30 to 60 degrees, and it also has two Ethernet ports. The second Ethernet port on the E500 can also be used to provide power to another device. So now this allows the E500 to be used along with surveillance cameras or with a ePMP or a PMP subscriber module for having easy wireless backhaul. Cambium access points support both mesh, and they can also be daisy chained along with other the Cambium broadband access solutions. So there are multiple wireless backhaul options, and depending on the use case, so if it's a small hotel and you're looking for connectivity, one-hop connectivity out to a pool which is nearby, then you can use mesh. If you're a resort spread over a large area, then you can combine Cambium's Wi-Fi solutions with Cambium's point-to-multipoint solutions to have an integrated wireless backhaul. And management, again, in all these cases is from a single pane of glass in CN Maestro. Let's quickly go over CN Maestro. CN Maestro is available in two forms. There is a cloud version, so there is no hardware for the administrator to install. You just install the access points, and the access points will connect back to cloud.cambiumnetworks.com. This is in data centers that are managed by Cambium Networks. So you would just log in and you can configure your APs. CN Maestro is also available in a local or on-premise version, which is a software that you can run on a server. So you have both options of management, and depending on the network need or local regulatory requirements, you can either manage your APs from the cloud or you can manage your access points from a local install. In CN Maestro, we also have a captive portal that is built in. So you can create up to 4 such portals for every account, and you can completely customize how the portal looks. So this is a splash page that the user would see when they log on to your Wi-Fi the first time. All the contents of the splash page are customizable. The background image, logos, the text, the colors, the fonts, and all of this And we also include 4 built-in templates. So to make it easier to get started, there are 4 templates, and you can pick one of them and you can start customizing, so you don't have to start from scratch. You can also preview the changes as you make them. So this makes deployment very easy. Instead of making a change and then connecting with the real client and having to see how the page would look, what you see here is a screenshot of CN Maestro. So on the right hand side of the page, you can customize the colors, you can add a page title, you can edit messages, and as you're making those changes, on the left hand side of the page you would see how the splash page would look. So as you're typing, you can customize, you can make sure this page looks good, and then roll out the deployment. CN Maestro also provides time and data control over user sessions. So most of the public hotspots tend to be open, and if it's an open SSID, you might have somebody who ends up using a lot of data, sitting there and downloading or running BitTorrent the whole day. So there are controls built in where you can easily restrict access if you're providing a free service. So in this case, for instance, you can specify a client session is going to be free for 1 hour every 24 hours. So when a new user comes in, they get free access from an hour, and then they can buy access for a longer duration of time. But if they want to remain a free user, then after that hour of service, they have to wait another 24 hours before they would get access again. Similarly, in terms of the data transfer limits, you can restrict how much bandwidth every client gets. So you wouldn't have cases where one client ends up using all your internet backhaul. And all of this is easily configurable from CN Maestro and can be pushed out to all the access points in your deployment. You can also leverage social platforms with a lot of users already having either Facebook or Google accounts. Instead of creating a separate authentication mechanism for them, you can enable social login on CN Maestro hotspot, and the clients who visit, once they get the splash page, they can log in either with their Facebook ID or with their Google ID. Depending on the privacy settings that the users have in Facebook and Google, we would receive some basic demographic information of them, so their email address and in some cases their age groups and so on. And you can use all of that information to customize both the user experience for Wi-Fi as well as the general user experience at your hotel. So you get an additional insight into what kind of guests are staying and what they might look for. All this data can also be exported for offline analytics. So if you're looking for frequent users who come in, or if there is a particular demographic that is trending at your resort, you can get all of that information by exporting this data. We also provide a monetization option in CN Maestro by supporting access vouchers. So in addition to free access or access using the social login, you can have the access locked on by a voucher, and CN Maestro has a complete voucher management system built in. The voucher management system also has tiered plans. So for instance, you can have a gold class voucher and a silver class voucher, and the gold and silver can allow access for different periods of time. So gold could be 3 hours of access and silver could be 1 hour of access. You can also rate limit the amount of traffic that the user is allowed, the amount of bandwidth he's allowed to use based on the tier of access. The way vouchers work is you would create the voucher system and you can customize how the voucher looks. So in this case, the text, the background image that you want on the voucher, the amount of time for which the voucher is going to be valid, all of that can be done, and then you would pick a certain number of vouchers to be created. So you can say create 500 vouchers of gold plan, and then you can export the vouchers either as a PDF or as a comma separated file. When it's exported as a PDF, this can be printed, and then the printouts of the voucher can be distributed to guests as they come in. The export as a comma separated file is useful if you want to integrate the vouchers with some other flyer about your business, for instance. So you'll get a file with all the voucher codes, and this can then be integrated with say a flyer with one voucher code printed on every flyer. We are also looking at some options later this year for having an app. So instead of having to print out the vouchers, you'll be able to have the voucher show up on an iOS or Android app, and the receptionist at the hospitality can either send that over SMS to the user, or show a QR code that the user can scan, or just show them the voucher and the user can note down the access voucher. That way there will not be a need to print and distribute vouchers. The access points also have a built-in captive portal of their own. So this mode of captive portal supports click-through access, which is basically no authentication. You would log in, get the splash page, accept some terms of service, and get access to the network. We also support radius authentication as well as a single username password based authentication on the access point itself. So there's no need of a separate server, there's no need of connectivity back to CN Maestro. The access point by itself can provide a splash page to the user and authenticate the user using a username and password that's configured on the AP itself. This mode is also customizable, so you can change the images and the text, but it is not as customizable as the CN Maestro based hotspot, where we have a lot more room for uploading images, even videos. The access points also support controllerless roaming. So if you connect to one access point, you get a splash page and you authenticate to the network. If you roam to a second access point in the same network, you will not be redirected again, because when you authenticate to one AP, that access point shares the information with neighboring access points about this client having been authenticated. Passpoint 2.0 or Hotspot 2.0 is another upcoming technology for access to Wi-Fi in public hospitality space. This is supported on CN Pilot access points today. This is largely driven by carriers, and it's intended to provide a mobile phone-like roaming experience on Wi-Fi networks. So the idea is to have seamless connectivity wherever you go, just the way on your cell phone as you roam from one city or from one country to another. If you have roaming agreements, all the connections happen automatically. You don't have to select networks and figure out who's the roaming partner of your home carrier provider. That kind of technology is being brought to Wi-Fi, where you would roam and the phone would automatically scan all the SSIDs, find out the appropriate roaming partner, and provide you seamless access. Now this also requires support on the phones and is only supported on newer devices. So the iPhones and Samsung Galaxy 7, the iPhone 6 and so on. Given that this is slowly coming out only on newer devices and also primarily driven by carriers, splash page based hotspots are not going to go away. That's going to be, we believe, the primary mechanism for getting access to the network. CN Pilot APIs also support various hotspot providers such as Purple Wi-Fi, Cloud4Wi, iPass, Encapto, and so on. These are companies that provide a captive portal solution without the Wi-Fi component. So Cloud4Wi and Purple are cloud-based providers where you can have a customized web page, get analytics, set up a payment system if you want to have paid access for your users. You can generate reports on presence, analytics of users, and so on. And the CN Pilot E400 and E500 access points are interoperable with all of these providers. So when a user logs in, we would redirect the user to Purple or Cloud4Wi. The user would log in, and then you would log on to Cloud4Wi to get access to reports and analytics. We'll go over a couple of case studies. So the first one here is a case study of the Heritage Hotel Resorts at Naivasha in Kenya. This was a resort with over 300 rooms, and they needed ubiquitous Wi-Fi coverage all across the site. So the coverage was provided by 147 CN Pilot E400 APs, and given how spread out this resort is, for wireless distribution they use the EPMP 1000 access points and subscriber modules. And the location of the resort is also remote. It is about 100 kilometers to the northwest of Nairobi in Kenya. So internet connectivity to the resort was through a PTP link, again from Cambium. And all of this was managed end-to-end with CN Maestro. So this was a classic deployment where everything from the point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, as well as the Wi-Fi access was all wireless and was all Cambium solutions, and all managed from this single pane of glass in CN Maestro. This is another case study of a carnival in Brazil. This is touted as one of the largest parties in the world. This was a particularly dense deployment. There were 2 pavilions hosting thousands of users, and they use CN Pilot E400 access points, again managed by CN Maestro. And the main thing that stood out is in a location like this, the density of users is very high. So at a steady rate, there were always about 30 to 40 active users per AP, with spikes going past 100. Another case study was at the Granada football stadium. They have a VIP center there, which also doubles up as a press box, and they wanted to serve Wi-Fi for the reporters who show up to cover the games. So E400s were used to serve the VIP area, and EPMP 1000s were used to serve the field area outdoors. On game day, they had over 10 gigabytes of upload and 15 gigabytes of download within a couple of hours. So as the reporters were filing their stories, uploading photos and videos, we had a very high traffic usage, and the E400 access points handled all of that. This is another case study of a Holiday Inn in Bali, where we're providing Wi-Fi access using the CN Pilot access points, E400 for indoor and E500 for outdoor access. So the whole property will be covered with Wi-Fi access. And this hotel is using the Wi-Fi both for guests as well as for their own operations. So for the guests, they have an open SSID, and for their own operations, they have a separate secure SSID. Both the SSIDs are on different VLANs, but this is one way they are able to support mobile point of sale devices all across their facility, at the same time being able to provide Wi-Fi access for guests. We have more case studies and solution papers on our website at cambiumnetworks.com/industry/hospitality, including a paper on 5 ways to get a 5-star rating for hotel Wi-Fi. So with the ratings of hotels being the primary factor that people look at when they make a booking, and Wi-Fi becoming more and more important for the rating, this is an interesting way to see how providing a good Wi-Fi service can help you get a better ROI on your investment at the hotel itself. A quick peek at some of the upcoming features. SNMP one-time password authentication. So we will be releasing a feature shortly in Q1 where users can assign a voucher code by SMS. So you would log on to a hotspot, enter your phone number, hit submit, and you would get the access code automatically SMS messaged over to you. We're also planning to integrate a payment gateway service. So this would allow even easier monetization of Wi-Fi service. So that way a user can buy service using their credit card and get access for a fixed duration of time. Later in the year, we are looking at integration with property management systems. So with hotel rooms, if there's a PMS system in the hotel area, that can be used for automatic access to Wi-Fi. So for instance, by entering your room number and your last name, you can get access to Wi-Fi. So we're looking at adding those features later this year by integrating with some of the leading property management systems. Some of the resources for more information, community.cambiumnetworks.com is where we have a number of knowledge base articles on our Wi-Fi. We have user forums where you can post questions and get answers on configuration, on features, and so on. We also have the access point software, all the user guides at support.cambiumnetworks.com. And the account that you create for support.cambiumnetworks.com is the same account with which you can access the cloud-based CN Maestro. Just a single sign-on all across. Thank you for your time today. Thanks for joining us for the webinar. Let's have a look at questions. So we have one question. Why was the E500 not used in the sporting event? So the Granada stadium deployment happened before we had launched the E500. So at that point, our portfolio had E400 for indoors and EPMP 1000 hotspot as the only outdoor access point. If they were deploying this today, yeah, I suspect they would use the E500 access point. Okay, that was the only question. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
All right, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Puneet or Chaitan. And if you want to access this webinar in the future, it'll be listed on our community page, so you can see it there. All right. Thank you.